Hello, good evening, and welcome to the Talkin Kop. It is the Sunday night show. It's Sunday the 5th of January. I'm Gav, and Keith, Emma, and Seany join me tonight after Liverpool drew 2-2 with Manchester United at Anfield in the Premier League. If you want to see our post-match reaction show, which was Matt, Ashley, and Chris, you can do. You can watch it on YouTube, or you can listen to it anywhere you get your podcast. Or you can even watch it on Spotify now. Isn't that great? You can watch it there as well. But tonight, as always, we do a little bit different. We don't go through every single piece of the game. We go through the overall thing. We go through a couple of individuals, where we are going forward, and bits and pieces like that. But Keith, I'm going to come to you first. I am going to put it out there that was verging on a diabolical performance by Liverpool Football Club today. They get a draw, but I don't think I'm being too strong in my words when I say that.
Yeah, it was terrible. You take everything into context, and if you've tried to balance it, you'll say you're not entitled to win every game. You win some, you lose some, you draw some. But that's a home game against our biggest rivals, and I don't care. Some people think everything is they live in Liverpool. Manchester United, Liverpool, the biggest rivalry in England. They were there for the taking. They're a team who are on the ropes, and we're a team who are doing really well. And we had results go our way over the weekend again, and we could have put final nail in the coffin of a league title by a league charge by other teams, but we could have taken another step towards that. And we put in a performance like that, and to me, that performance today was disgraceful. Too many players coasted. I think it's easier to talk about the maybe two players that had decent games today, in my opinion, was Virgil and McAllister. I think at a push, I know Sean, you probably disagree. I think Kanate done okay under the circumstances. He's only back from injury. He didn't look match fit. He had an awful lot to do. Other than that, I don't think there was many great performances. Gakpo done okay as well. In fairness to him, he took his ball well. But other than that, it was too many players having bad performances. And we will talk about individuals as the show goes on, and we will be harsh on some individuals as the show goes on, and we will try to be, as balanced and as fair as we can without jumping in and forming a pile on certain players. But I'm not speaking for everyone, but we're going to be as honest as we can here. And we're going to try and say today was probably a bit of a wake up call to look at some of those lads who've done us really well, some of those lads who've gone down as some of the best and got us over the line in the league winning campaign, and they just stunk it out today. And look, these things can happen, but I don't think some of the performances were isolated incidents, and that's the problem I have with some of them today. But look, everybody's angry, everybody's annoyed. We've time to think about. We've time to sort of mull over what we're going to say. We're not going to be too reactionary, but yeah, I think it was. I think it was just a bad day, and in those circumstances, I think it's unforgivable.
Shawnee, I used the word diabolical. Keith used the word unforgivable. Are we out of order saying that?
No, no, I don't think so at all. There's already been a few good points made in the chat and thing, and I agree. Like these games do take on a life of their own. Like since the 7-0, we've had two draws at home with them now, and that can just happen. And when we were a shower of shy, we used to give them a game, and it is just the truth. And to be honest with you, I think I'm going to do this now because it's probably not going to be really talked about for the rest of the podcast. I actually, the part of United's game actually impressed me today. I haven't seen that from them in a long time where they were showing fight and force to the ball. And it was equal parts got to do with us being shy as well. I don't think we won a second ball all game, to be honest with you. But I think in football, you need to realise like winning now is you nothing. I feel a couple of times in Klopp's reign and maybe even a few times under Slot that there's been an issue where I think lads probably had to think they just show up. And I think inside of football, there's so much shit you can't control in terms of like the weather, for example, today, dodgy reps, situations in terms of who's fit and who's not fit, who's available. But I think in football, two things you can always control is your attitude and your application. And I have to say, from more than a handful of first team regulars today, was beyond shy. To be honest with you, forget about all of the noise surrounding certain individuals and situations, just take it as it is from a game. Some of them are just absolutely shy, unforgivable mistakes. Saying that they're not like it's like the fourth goal. It makes me sick. It makes me fucking sick watching it back. To be honest with you, and I'm sure we'll get on it in detail. But yeah, I think in the grand scheme, Arsenal dropping points, Chelsea dropping points yesterday. Like Keith said, it would have been probably the first nail in the coffin for the league title. But I think this league is going to be hard won, and I think anyone else thinking any other way is and the reason why is because of us, um, and shy performances like that. To be honest with you, it's a well needed fucking rocket. People in the chat are already going in on individuals, and I'm sure we will do it. But look, listen, it's not about witch hunt. That wasn't an anomaly performance from him today. We've seen that for a long time, and I'm going to start it off because I think we're obviously going to get straight into this. Wherever side of the fence you line on, whatever you feel about him staying or going, I'm telling you fucking now, you'd want to be off your marbles to bet the house on that fella. If you think that fella's worth 350, if you think he's worth 250 grand a week, you need to have a serious question with yourself, because there's not a fucking right back in the history of football I'd bet the house on, especially not him. Because I tell you why, and I'm saying it the longest, and people dug me out for it on shows and previous. I have no vendetta against Trent. I really like him as a footballer, but I tell you one thing, and as a footballer, I'd never, never, ever want it. His character is compromised and has been for a long time. His ego is gone out of control over seasons past, and it's really going to come down the line and fucking buy him now. That was a fucking shocking performance today. An absolutely abysmal performance for this fella who's done more interviews than Michael Parkinson in the last 6 months. Hasn't said a fucking word about how he feels about the club, despite the other two lads turning around and saying, I love Liverpool, I love it here, and I want to stay there. That shy hawk hasn't once mentioned it. He's dodged around it about how he wants Ballon d'Ors this, Ballon d'Ors that. It's a load of fucking bollocks, honest to God. And if you're backing him and on the club wanting this fella to stay or this, that, and the other, 250 grand a week, are you fucking kidding me? The fella hasn't got the go for it. And I swear to God, and I'll put my hand, and I'm going to be honest with you, I'm probably not going to say much for the rest of the podcast. I actually think Slot bottled it today, because he should have pulled the cunt off at half time. And he should have definitely pulled the cunt off as soon as we conceded the second. Because I tell you one thing, he made a prick out of Kwanzaa first game of the season, and he's one of the easiest, youngest players in the squad, and it's an easy thing to do. All right, devil's advocate, Bradley probably not enough football under his belt to do that, but he should have fucking pulled him off at half time. Forget about defensively. He was fucking hat piss on the ball today. I think he gave it away about fucking 20 times. He was terrible. He was absolutely shy, and he let the rest of his mates down today. And the worst part of it is his character and the way I see him strikes me as the type of cunt who went home tonight and didn't give a bollocks. Because to be honest with you, he sees himself off in a jolly in the summer. And that's the God honest truth. The club, the manager, whoever's in charge, needs to stamp it out quick smart before it does become an issue. Because today was the first day. And I'll caveat that by saying that it's not actually the first time he's played like that. There's games where we've all watched him where he was drowning World Cup finals, to be honest with you. So I just think Slot nearly kind of bottled it today, and that's allowed. I think he should have pulled them early, to be honest with you. I've done something about it, because it was, lads, honest to God, it's a bullshit. It's a bullshit performance. It's fucking ridiculous.
I think you hit the nail on the head with the fitness of Bradley. I think that's the key on that.
Yeah, you can look at the other side. Look at the other left back. Look at the other side of the pitch. Robertson, who, do you know what? I'll never ever dig him out, because unlike, could never ever question the fella's character, but it does look like his legs are gone from underneath it, and that's excusable, because you can't really do anything about that. But walking around after giving the fuck, walking after that cunt Bruno Fernandes, walking after Bruno Fernandes, like, honest to God, do you know what? It's the most Bruno Fernandes performance I've seen from a Liverpool player. That's one way I'll put it. Yeah, so you know exactly how I feel about it.
Yeah, no, listen, we were going to go to Trent,
I'm saying it the longest about.
but you've jumped in there, Emma.
Gone early.
Before we get back to Trent and others, like I was saying, I don't know if it was you I was saying to before the game. To me, it didn't look like it was, in my opinion. It was a game where Manchester United were given nothing that they didn't want and given everything that they wanted. And what I mean by that is that they would have wanted us to make it a bit of a scatty game, but put ourselves, force the issue way too early, misplacing passes, trying to rush down the pitch to score goals because, we're better than you and we have to show it. They would have liked that, and they would have liked the fact that we're leaving gaps around Trent, to be fair, where for me, Hoyland, Bruno Fernandes, Delo, and at times Mainu, we're just getting into those areas and trying to push into that area all the time because they know Salah's not going to walk back, but the midfielder weren't kind of covering, and I'll have me saying Trent in a bit. But what they wouldn't have liked, Emma, for me, would have been Liverpool to be patient, move it around, keep moving it, because we know this Manchester United side aren't any good at tracking runners, working hard, working off the ball, making sure they cover for each other, helping each other out. And they would have been dreading the fact that Liverpool could have held onto this ball carefully, moved it and kept moving up the pitch, sparking into 2 or 3 passes to try to get at them. And if we don't score, as soon as that ball drops out of their box, we're going to be bum on them like a fucking light. And we done none of that, Emma. We done absolutely none of that. We charged at them. We lost it. We were out of shape. They had space to go and play into. They didn't use it an awful lot in the first half, in fairness. But they had an out. They had a constant out. And we allowed them to have a constant out. We gave them everything that they would have wanted, and nothing of what they wouldn't have wanted.
Yeah, we played right into their hands. Whether it was, obviously it's not intentional. We looked like a team that honestly thought that game was going to be called off. It was just like, oh, we have to fucking play this now. But we played right into their hands. Our press wasn't on. We had, I think it was said in commentary, we had 4 defenders marking 1 player up top for them. We had nobody kind of squeezing up the pitch. We were playing blind passes. Seany mentioned a couple from Trent, but we gave the ball away so many times. And I actually called out a stat on the post match. It's the first time this season that a team hasn't made a tackle in the first half of a game. Like, that's embarrassing. But everything was loose. I have a couple of notes here. I'm getting handy at taking these notes.
Notes, are you?
Oh, no, yeah. Yeah.
So,
we're not
the rest of us.
I just didn't know who was going to rock up tonight. I thought after last week. So we weren't holding on to it enough. We weren't retaining the ball well enough. There didn't seem to be a spark. Jones, unfortunately, went back to being the player that he was maybe 2 seasons ago and decided, I'm just going to hold on to this ball and let all these 4 lads surround me. We made them look good. Like commentary was saying, oh, Amarin is eventually getting a tune out of these players. I agree with Seany that United played better than they have played, but they were still nowhere near as. It was because we played so bad that they actually looked half decent. And you're right, we played into their hands. We made it a scrappy game. We should have held onto the ball. We should have moved them all over the pitch. But I don't know what was going. We were playing passes too short. We were playing passes too long. It was one of those games and we have them every now and again. I think the last one was probably, people were mentioning, I still haven't watched the Forest game, was probably Forest. But that's the worst I've seen us play in a long, long time. I won't have a say on Trent, but Seany is right. He's an absolute shocker today. But we've seen that before. So this whole blaming it on the contract situation and all that kind of stuff, that's bollocks. But what it does is, the longer it goes on without it being sorted, the more it's going to be attributed to that. I was listening to a couple of bits afterwards. Apparently he was getting pelters from people in the crowd saying, if you don't want to be here, walk off the fucking pitch. This is what people were shouting at him. So it is turning nasty on him.
But that was always going to happen, Emma.
Yeah, no.
I said this during the week. Regardless of what you think of him, Whether you like him, you don't like him, you believe he's worth it, he's not worth it. What's going to happen is, even if Trent goes out and has a 7 out of 10 game there today, right, and a 7 out of 10 game against Spurs during the week, and that continues on, what's going to happen is them 7 out of 10s in people's eyes turn into 5 out of 10s very fucking quickly. Because if you're in a contract situation where you're asking for X amount, whatever it might be, and you're not absolutely dominating games of football, it's going to turn on you. It's just human nature. That's what it is, Emma. You know what I mean? It's always going to go like this. It was never going to be, he's looking for a contract. Not saying Liverpool fans won't get behind you, but as soon as anything goes in any way wrong, you are going to get fucking lifted over because the ammunition is sitting on the fucking sideboard waiting 100%. To be loaded into the gun.
I said it earlier on, at this stage now, after that performance today, and he's brought it on himself, there needs to be a decision made in the next week or so. You're either going or you're not. Because what's going to happen is those little whispers or that one fella shouting from the crowd is going to turn into 6 or 7 beside each other. And then all of it, it's going to turn extremely nasty on the chap. Now, we've seen him give away balls. We've seen him make bad passes in the past. But today was just unforgivable. Like, he was receiving the ball in the midfield and he was flat-footed, standing still. And they're like, what? Like, can we just... And that's not just him. There was a lot of that going on. There just didn't seem to be any kind of impetus or any oomph about the team today. And it's not a worry. I don't... Look, I think we bounced back. I agree with Seany on they pulled them off earlier. But I do also think that it's because Bradley probably hasn't had the legs. But could he have put Quansah in there? Do you know what I mean? Bradley comes on and within 60 seconds he wins more duels than Trent and Robbo did in the whole game. Again, and I'm not going in 2-footed on Robbo either, but we are starting to concede that goal, a carbon copy of that goal nearly every couple of games we scored. He was conceded one against Leicester. Down Trent's side, pull it back, and I mean, Robbo's there. He's just not getting a block on it. Yeah. But it just seems to be the blueprint now for scoring against us is down that side and cross it, pull it back. But I agree with everything that everybody said. It's an unacceptable performance. But I think they'll know that. I think Slot will let them know that. I do think he dropped the ball a little bit. I mean, his changes probably could have happened earlier. I think Gakpo scoring probably throws him off a little bit because I think Gakpo was about to come off.
Yeah, but I think his problem with his changes. I don't think Jota's anywhere near fit, but he wants to bring him on. I don't think Bradley's anywhere near fit to play more than 15 minutes, but he wants to bring him on. I think if Bradley is a fully fit on that bench, I think Trent is gone on an hour. I genuinely believe that because I don't think Slot is the type. Like, I know what Seany's saying. He reached Quansah on 45 away at Ipswich, and that's that. I think he would have done it. I just don't think. We know that. The medical team will say, listen, you can put him on the bench, you might get 20 of them, but you're not getting any more than that. I think if he'd have been told, listen, you can get 45 out of him, he would have definitely got 30. I do genuinely believe that. Keith, look, Seany's talked about Trent and Emmett's touching it as well. My thing on it is, and I want to get into other individuals because I don't want this to be fucking, the Trent show. But just because we've started off with him, let's start him. I thought he was atrocious, right?
Trent?
Yeah. I thought he was atrocious. I thought he was defensively, there's a ball over the top of him for, I always forget that fella's name, Highland. And the ball goes over the top and he just looks at it going over and he just jogs back. See what'll happen. Whatever happens. The first goal, Bruno Fernandes can't actually believe what's happening because he comes inside at walking pace and Trent walks over to him, looks at him and goes, you're all right, and walks off and then doesn't get back into position. And Lisandro Martinez, the centre-half, is running off him. The third goal, I've an issue with about 4 or 5 of them, including the goalkeeper. But overall, it was diabolical. But Keith, just to play devil's advocate just a little bit, without anyone fucking jumping down my throat, that looked like a guy. That did look like a guy that this stuff is starting to really fucking get on him now. And I'm not saying it's not any of his own fault. It can be the club's fault, it can be his fault, it can be his agent, it can be wherever it be. But that genuinely did look like a guy that is all over the fucking shop. And I don't think, wherever it's come from in the last week, whoever's responsible for it in the last week with regards to contracts and bids and different things, that has not worked out well for him in this game. Because I just thought he looked like a fella that was away with the fairies, on top of playing really poorly.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, against West Ham, we all saw the clip of the pass he puts in when he fucking cuts one and puts fade and everything else on it into Mo Salah's pat. And that was, the best of what Trent Alexander-Arnold does. And then he scores a goal and we get the celebration of all this shit. And it leads into this weekend. And I said it earlier, it's the biggest game of the season. It's Liverpool against Manchester United, and he's the vice captain of the team, and he wants to be the captain of the team. So if you're going to be doing all this and you put in a fucking performance like that, I think you've got serious questions to ask. And if people are questioning you, you have to accept it. I don't agree with slaughtering them at the pitch. I don't. Everyone's entitled to their opinion, as we are on this show.
I don't agree with it either, but that's what's going to happen.
Well, that's what I was going to say.
Yeah.
It's inevitable. But it's inevitably going to be what happens. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's inevitably what's going to happen. And what also is inevitable is you get abused on Twitter or whatever the fuck that's called these days. And he'll be racially abused on Twitter because that's what some of these fucking empty heads will do. And it's just going to be a never-ending cycle. So to me, it gives him nearly an excuse. Oh, well, I've made it easy. The fans don't love me. The fans don't want me. Trent has been supported for a long time. That game today, right, when he's walking back and he's not tracking runners, that's a carbon copy. This isn't a new thing. I went out and Emmet was out. We met Matt and Buffy. We were in Ryan's and Camden Street. Liverpool against Man United 2 years ago. Eric Ten Hag, I think it was his first fucking win. Or it was at Old Trafford. His first win. And Trent got absolutely marmaladed by Sancho. Just ball in behind, just looking at him and walking back after him. This is an ongoing thing with Trent. And I don't know if it's something since he's starting to smell himself, or he smelled himself for a few years now. I don't know if it's since they've won the league or what. He's won it all. Essentially, leagues, Champions Leagues. He's done this. He's been hailed as a generational talent for what he can do with the ball. But what he does off the ball is fucking atrocious. And if you're a defender and you're not defending, if you're a fullback and you're not tracking runners and you're not getting back in and helping, you don't have to be the best tackler. You don't have to be Aaron Wan-Bissaka. Do you know what I mean? You don't have to be a bleeding a player that locks up his winger every time. But you have to have the effort. You have to put in the fucking effort, and you have to look like you're trying. And to me, the problem with Trent is he doesn't look like he's trying in certain games. And as I said, I can forgive him for a bad game. I can forgive people if they're injured and they come back too quickly, like maybe Trent did already this season. You can forgive a bad game or a bad performance while they go up to speed. What I can't forgive is a local lad who wants to be the captain, who wants to be this, that, who is the vice captain, and puts in a fucking 1 out of 10 against Manchester United at Anfield in a game that's so important for Liverpool, and we get that shy. It wasn't just him. We'll come on to others as well. But for me, I just can't get past that lack of effort and lack of willingness to break his bollocks to get back. I mean, Man United, they were good today, right? Shawnee touched on it. They were good. They were hungrier than us. They're an awful team. They're a fucking awful team, right? Bruno Fernandes was their best player by a mile. He has been the biggest coward in these games over the years. He's been a fucking jellyfish in games. If you get into them and they lose their blade, I was confident that we'll score against these, the Arsenal fall out of them. We never got into them. We never got fucking into them. We left them in the game. Even when we went 2-1 up, we went and let them have the ball and let them run the fucking show. Do you know what I mean? They've got a centre forward who, in my opinion, is absolute piss, who could have been there all day, Hoyland, and wouldn't score. He's fucking horrendous. And they've got Ahmad, who is a threat for them, but ultimately, he's not a blade and he's not a player you'd be fearing. And we let them get into the game. We gave them the foothold. We gave them that. And that wasn't just Trent. But it started for me with Trent. They targeted his side like they always do. The fact that we had Ebu back from an injury, him and Bradley only trained, I think, once this week, wasn't it? So they really were only fresh back. So I can sort of understand the bit, and what Shawnee said, I can understand why Slot was reluctant maybe to hook him, thinking he could play his way in if Bradley didn't have it in him, because we've got 2 games coming up and we do have a dearth of defenders. Now Joe Gomez is a bleeding killer. That we probably have to be a bit more sensible with managing the load on the likes of Bradley, because I'd imagine he will play, against Spurs, against Accrington Stanley. So we have to be careful with what we do with that. But it was the lack of effort with Trent. I'd have hooked him if we had an option. I know the Kwanzaa one worked against Man City, but then absolutely didn't against Newcastle. So I can sort of understand why we didn't do that. But at the same time, he was up against Bruno Fernandes. He's not going to skin you. Do you know what I mean? He's not the type of player that's going to... Lisandro Martinez shouldn't be the type of player that skins you. Do you know? So Kwanzaa maybe could have done a job there for a half an hour. But look, I don't know. I just think it was a bad day at the office for Trent. He has good days at the office and he has an awful lot of bad days. And this was bad, if not one of the worst days at the office because of the occasion and because of who he was against.
Yeah, Seany, you know, you look at some of the other players around the side. We touched on Andy Robertson. You see, my biggest thing in all this is when I watch this game, I'm nearly looking at nearly every player going, where are you off to in a hurry here? Where are you off to? Like, it was like, get it and run up the pitch and then turn around and might pass back and then try to get it in the box. And then when we lose it, we won't press them because they won't really hurt us. And then it was like, they'll get up the pitch against us and we kind of moved them where we wanted them. We got it back and then it was like, can we not just hold this? But no, we just went straight back at them again. So the kind of madness kind of suited them because it didn't need to be mad organised from them, just kind of get in the way somewhere. Whereas if you're organised and you're playing, I think you pull them around and I think you could pull them apart quite easily. But Seany, like, two, and I thought Virgil was absolutely fine. I'm going to be saying I thought he was absolutely fine. But for me, Konate shouldn't have lasted the 90 minutes in the game. I don't think he had the 90 in him, and I think he should have done something. Maybe the Trent situation there is kind of, do I put on Bradley and Kwanzaa? How are we feeling? But then I look at Robertson, and partly at fault for the second goal. Partly, I say, because there's more involved in that. But Seany, centre half shouldn't have lasted the game. The left back, for me, was just way too much fucking running up and down. Before we get into midfield, I just wanted to touch on them too.
Yeah, to be honest with you, Gav, I think everyone has looked better in this game because we've had so much control of our games and players haven't really been, I won't say, it sounds a bit arrogant to say tested, but players have been relatively comfortable in what they've had to deal with in games. I don't think our players expected that today in that game. We didn't control the game at any stage, to be honest with you. And to be quite honest with you, if Maguire scores that fucking chance he gets in the 97th minute, like, you kind of want away saying, do you know what? That performance probably merited a defeat. To be honest, we were lucky. Because I thought they were the better side for the majority of the game. Now, whether that's because of how poor we were individually or collectively, that's up for you to decide. But I didn't think we had any control over the game at any stage. And again, I thought, you quite like, Ebu hasn't played in 6 weeks, so I don't want to be overly critical of him, to be honest with you. Because he's been, I think for the run up until he got injured, he was probably the best defender in the league.
I'm not criticising him, I'm just saying probably from a manager's point of view, just make the fucking decision.
To be honest with you, I'm kind of starting, and do you know what? I don't want to fucking throw the baby out with the bad water here, but probably need to question how much Slot really trusts Kwanzaa, to be honest with you, if he didn't feel he could have done 10, 15 there at the end. Because, let's be honest, the way the game is going, regardless of that, I still think you would have hooked Konate because we're still very much in a 3 games a week phase. And I think it done nobody any good to leave Konate in there for that amount of time, especially after a little layoff like that. Robbo, I don't know, I thought we would have seen Simicast earlier as well myself.
He was standing up getting changed, and that he changed his mind.
Yeah, no, look, I know, and I just thought it was a weird game that we never controlled. It was like watching Liverpool play away from home. The most annoying thing for me is that we got outworked in a home game, which I think is fucking, it's criminal, especially when you're looking to win a league title, regardless of whoever the opposition is. I think you should never be outworked at home or overran, and we did. You'd be quicker just naming the lads who did perform, I think, after today.
But you're saying something there, and it's right. You should never be outworked. And this is the thing. The only way United should have outworked us today was the amount of running they had to do after the football. That's the only way they should have outworked us. They should have been running way more distance than us, and way more fucking, sprinting runs, whatever the fuck they call them, right? Because we were keeping the ball. And then we should have caught up on that stat when we lost the ball, and we should have been doing it in areas where we're running because we're making sure you don't get out. Because it's like Keith said, your man Hoyland up front, there's no big shakes, right? And if you rush United into playing, they are going to give you the ball back. They're going to hit it towards him, and Van Dijk and Konate will gobble him up, and we just keep fucking playing.
That's what I expected in the second half, because I think one of the most impressive parts of Slot and his team and what they've done at Liverpool is how we've kind of been chameleon in games where, look, the perfect example is Madrid at home. I'm probably giving them a little bit too much respect. In the second half, he pushes Bradley right up the pitch and forces them to go, okay, what the fuck's going on here? Keith makes a good point. It's fucking 4 against 1 with your man Hoyland, who is an absolute stock and a shy, to be honest with you. And yeah, listen, I'm no fucking spring chicken myself, but I'd say he should have had prams. He's bastard ugly, God bless him. I don't know how he lasted that long, fucking, when I was going. And that's what I was thinking. Second half, I wasn't panicked. We'll push on him, we'll click in. And obviously they get the goal and gives them the impetus. But like, yeah, it was just shy. But it was such a poxy display. And to be honest with you, again, players can show up and have bad days at the opposite, but for me, there's a high-end, top-end football. There should be absolutely zero room for nonchalance and lack of application. And I think that was basically it today. We got Cole. You're all looking around going, what the fuck's going on? You see Virgil running around going, what's fucking going on here?
Yeah, he wasn't impressed.
Camera pan to him, and Virgil is standing going, where is everyone? What the fuck is doing? I thought Gravenberg as a protector wasn't great today. I didn't think as a six. A few lovely turns in the midfield and all that. Again, he's allowed to have a bad game. He's been brilliant, but I just think they picked the fucking day to not show up, to be honest with you. They picked the day to not show up of all days against them. It's fucking very, very annoying. Very, very annoying. And make no bounds about it. 2 very tricky away games now coming up in the league. So that it's shit I got off the pot now, Luke.
Yeah, I definitely wanted to talk about that later on. But Emmet, just on Robertson, because it's like Seany says, it's probably easy just to name a couple of players that done well, and you'll probably reach a total of 3 players probably. But just on Robertson, overall in the game, I wasn't too fussed by him. I didn't think United done anything down the right hand side really until the game got stretched, and we were stretched, and Robertson was having to deal with Ahmed or wherever, and he's a really good player. I really like him actually. But the second goal, just on the second goal, because we've spoken on the first goal, and we've been fairly clear. Okay, Robertson's at the back post and Ahmed's there, but I can't understand what 2 or 3 of these are doing him. Like when it's Garnacho, I think, gets that ball and he runs at Konate, right? Doesn't even run him, just fucking runs towards him, and Konate's like, I don't know why Konate just couldn't get close to him and go, yeah, go on, push up by me, and I just fucking lean on you, and that'll be the end of it. But he doesn't. But I can't understand, like, Trent is running back. He's not back quick enough, because you can see it. As he's coming back, the ball goes behind him. But I can't understand why Van Dijk is that deep either. Like, I understand if Garnacho's crossing that with his left foot from, say, 20 yards from the byline, you go, there's a big gap in there, get deep, and you're blocking it. But when he pushes a boy, the chances of him playing a ball across that box behind Van Dijk that Alisson can't get to is very, very slim. I can't understand why the defenders aren't standing out a little bit to say, right, anything coming in the box we're ready for. It goes by them both. Robertson's slow tracked, and Robertson is fucking fuming with himself after it. I'm not too sure on Alisson. I don't know if he's slow getting down to it. But overall, bar the goal, I don't think it's all on Robertson. Or are we just picking out that goal and going, Robertson's fucked? Because I think that might be a bit.
I think what's happened is Robertson. Somebody said in the comments that he's been at the scene of most crimes more recently, and maybe that's bad luck, because I don't think he's been that bad. But what I think he does too much of is, and you touched on it there, is he is doing that up and down. Now, for somebody of his age, vintage, and there's claims that his legs are going, does he need to be doing that much leg work? In saying that, he does get back. But I mentioned the Leicester goal. IU scored. Today's goal, there's another one. He gave away a penalty. He gave away. He got the red card. He seems to be a yard too late every time. And I think he needs to maybe adapt his game. Maybe he's trying to adapt his game, but he definitely needs to. The days of him bombing up and down the wing, they're gone. I don't even think that's the way Slot wants to play. I think he wants more defensive right back and left back rather than them getting forward like we used to. I think it's hard. I don't want to say it's harsh on him. He is getting on. His legs are going a little bit, and he has been that person that's been there when we've conceded goals, when we've given away a penalty, when he's got the red card. And I think that's why the eye is on him a bit. That he was there when Emmet takes a shot. He just gets there a little bit too late.
Alisson, that half-second reaction is gone, isn't it? And it's killing him. In all those incidents you're speaking of, it's a half a second. The penalties, the things like that, the red cards. He's just slightly just not getting there where he did before.
But your legs go, but also the message from your head to your legs, that goes too, and that slows down. And I think we probably saw that last week when he receives the ball, and it's like he knows what he wants to do with it, but he's not quick enough to get it done. And I think that's creeping in a little bit as well. I think he had a good game, bar maybe that, but again, you're talking milliseconds of Emmet hitting that and it actually hitting Robbo's leg and going out. Or he just seems to be involved in an awful lot of things that are probably not going right at the moment at the back for us.
Mm-hmm. Look, I think as a collective of midfield and forwards, and Curtis Jones going to mention there, McAllister done all right. Gravenberch I thought was okay, but I think he could have been better defensively at times. You look at Salah, and Salah was trying to get into the game, but couldn't really. Diaz definitely didn't. Gakpo grew. Jota doesn't look fit. Nunez come on and done one good thing, and then I didn't notice him for the rest of the fucking game, to be fair. Bar him trying to take De Ligt's head off for no reason. But
he done one good thing.
Yeah.
He
dribbled out.
He got the ball on the side and he came inside.
And De
Ligt had to book him. He was breaking through him. But look, as a collective, I just think as that unit, regardless of the personnel in it, it all felt very rushed. It all felt very. It felt like a game where we were going out on away goals unless we scored. That's what it felt like. And it was just like fucking running down and this and running down. And to be fair, I actually didn't mind Jones in for Szoboszlai, because these sort of games when teams sit back, Jones just keeps it ticking over and stuff like that. I don't think you need that mad running power of Szoboszlai. Maybe the closing down is probably where Szoboszlai comes into it. But as a collective, way too rushed, didn't take care of the football. And then when we did lose it, way too disjointed to go and affect the game in terms of getting the ball back high up the pitch. And that gets the crowd on your side. That sparks the crowd to go, right, these are on it. Right, let's fucking heap everything down from the stands and let's see where we go. And it just didn't happen. The penalty, there's a bit of... I've seen a few United fans going, look, what's he meant to do? His arm is up there. Like Keith, if your arm's up there, there's no... I'm not saying he's intentionally doing it. He's jumping up, but once your arm is outside that silhouette, as they call it, and the ball's going towards the goal and your arm's up that high, it's just a penalty. There's nothing major about it, is there?
I don't know how it can be contentious. You know what I mean? I don't give a bollocks if it was close to where the connection was. His hand's up in the air. It's a header that's going towards goal. It's stopped. Absolutely nothing contentious there. Do you know what I mean? And we're in an age now, we're in a world now where every fucking penalty is contentious. Do you know what I mean? You're having, and I'm not trying to go off track here, but the Arsenal penalty yesterday, to me, it's a stonewall penalty. But you're being told this doesn't happen, blah, blah, it's a penalty. Everything that happens now, we're arguing about it and saying, should it be a penalty? It's a fucking handball. His hand is above his head. It's not in at his body. You can accept the ones that they're in at the body, okay? You can accept that one now. If they handle it and their arm is in close to their body, it's not going to be given, and that's fair enough. This shite about, the being too close to the connection, what's he supposed to do? He's not supposed to have his hand in the air. That's what he's not meant to be doing anyway. So that to me is where the fucking any argument should end on that. It's a penalty all day long. we were watching the game. We were in a WhatsApp group, and as soon as it happened, people were in straight away. I think Seany and Emmet were both saying that that's a pen, that's a pen, that's a pen, has to be a pen, has to be a pen. And we all looked at it and thought, yeah, that's a pen. I don't know why there'd be anything contentious about it, but we're in the age now where we're allowing people
I think it depends with the referee
about every decision.
Yeah,
I think the most contentious part about it was that he didn't give it on the field and had to go to the fucking screen for it.
Yeah, that's what I'm wondering what he's
Unless
seeing.
he didn't see it at all.
But then there's the rumour that Michael Oliver doesn't like to be told to go to the screen. That's what we were told last year.
You knew by the Lit's face. The Lit's running away going, oh, fuck, oh, fucking hell, how we get away with this? Yeah. But it is a penalty. Salah puts it away, and Gakpo's goal, they were checking for offside. It's a good goal from Gakpo as well, but we do miss a couple of chances. Jota comes inside late on and hits one straight around Nana. McAllister has one in the first half, hits straight around Nana. Bradley nearly catches out on Nana. Well. Yeah, and Bradley, Van Dijk's had it near the end, and then of course you do have the Maguire one, which was mad. Bradley nearly catches out Onana at his front post late on in the game, and Salah is absolutely fuming. But look, it's one of those. You take a point, you move on. It hasn't changed the landscape on this league at all. Where we'll still be 9 points clear if we win our game in hand. The games tick off. But one thing I want to ask you all, and Emma, I'll start with you. Like, Liverpool have had a setback in this season when it came to Forest, and we learned very quickly from it, and we moved on, and we learned, we improved, and we went on a great run. We've had that Newcastle one where we've definitely learned from. The Fulham circumstance, I thought we done well to come out of. We've won every game since, I think. But this team just have, for me, without us getting, oh, fuck's sake, like we should have been 8 clear. This is all about learning from this, isn't it? Learning from it, seeing what's happened, moving on, putting things right. And whether that's a League Cup game or a dead rubber fucking Champions League game, wherever it might be, it's about getting back on the bike here and putting another run together. Because if you put another run similar to post Forest, it's very hard to see him not winning this league. But we have to learn, and we have to learn quickly from it.
Yeah, look, I think we'd be hard pushed to see as bad of a performance today. Like we're going to get games where one player is off it. We just happen, for the last couple of seasons, we always seem to decide to have a bad game on the same day as each other. And that's when we end up with results like this. We'll talk about this for the next week until Wednesday, until we play again or until we win again or whatever. The players will go in tomorrow, they'll watch it, they'll talk about it, and it'll be put to bed and they move on. And that's the way it should be. Newcastle, did we play that bad against Newcastle? Probably don't. I don't think we probably did. Did we play that bad against Fulham?
Half we were dork, second half we were good.
Yeah, but against Fulham we were down to 10 men. I thought we were excellent. Yeah. Forest, again, I didn't watch it, but by all accounts everybody says we were shy. I don't think it lives long in the players' memories. Hopefully they can put it to bed on Wednesday in the first leg of the League Cup. But no, you just move on, keep ticking on. The godsend is, and even if Arsenal had won yesterday, we're still a good bit ahead of them. We're 6 points with a game in hand. Just keep notching the games off. A better performance than today. They have to put in something on Spurs to put it to bed. And then you've got Accrington Stanley, which they should, I think, massively rotate in next week. And then go into that Forest game. That's the big one. It's mad to think that a Forest game, away to Forest, which is naturally, it's notoriously a tough place to go, but with it in the back of their head that we kind of owe them one. Slot hasn't let it lie since we lost the game. So that unfortunately is a big one. Two big away games coming up. So
it's the only game he lost, isn't it, in 2024 for final or Liverpool?
Yeah. Seany, like we're saying there, we learn from, we move on, and what straight away you're thinking players and Trent needs to learn from that and move on, regardless of what the situation is. Another couple do, but the manager as well, Seany, because I'm seeing a few people in the chat here mentioning the subs and were he too late? Were he the right ones? Does he need to trust Endo a little bit and bring him in on 80 and kind of not shut up shop a little bit, but just solidify midfield and go, listen, we're going to snap into a few more tackles here. The manager needs, and the manager, don't get me wrong, The manager did learn after Forest. He fucking hates Forest. He never shuts up about them. But he learned after that. And after that game, then it was very rare you'd see us play like that at home or away until possibly today. But the manager needs to have a look as well and kind of say to himself, right, we need to stop doing that. Because it comes from him, Seany, at the end of the day.
Yeah, totally. And look, come here, listen. Again, expression I use is not, we don't need the fucking baby out of the bathwater, but I'd love us to do something in this window in the next 3 weeks that helps us in terms of, like, we need cover for Gravenberch because he can't do what he's been doing for the whole season. He's just not going to be able, because by the look of this team, look, we've gone deep in the Carabao. We're going to play all but every game in that competition, possibly. We should look. Let's be honest. We should be doing Spurs off at 2 legs, and you're maximising the amount of games you would have played in that competition. You never know what you're going to get with the FA Cup. It's a look at the draw. The Champions League, we're guaranteed a spot in the second knockout stage against what should be a lower seeded team. Now, whatever way that works out. So you're looking at a squad that's gone League Cup final, deep into the Premier League, playing meaningful games. FA Cup again, you don't know what you're going to get, but you'd fancy us in most draws. And the Champions League, you're looking at a team who's, let's be honest, suspected to at least make a quarter final. So I do think we need reinforcements in the window. And I'm not saying booking signings is everything and for everyone to start getting on the owners back, but we do need to take a little bit of stock and say, okay, these fellas crunch numbers. This fella's the only natural cover we have as a 6. He's playing way too much football. Yes, he's overperforming. And I actually think a lot of what we're doing at the moment, the house is built on Gravenberch's work, to be honest with you. And that's fine because he's been so good. He's been outstanding. But I would like us to see a call into action and do maybe bring one forward who can help us between now and the end of the season, because it will give us a boost. And to be honest with you, any team that's chasing us, that do something like that, will give them a boost as well. And it's definitely an area that you can look at.
Jesus Christ.
What the fuck happened to him?
Sorry, someone just crept up on me there. Sorry. All right.
We didn't. It must have been bleeding Casper, was it?
It was the ghost of Christmas past, was it?
Give me a drink.
But you know, I just walked in the way to Canada. Where did you come out of?
Over my fucking shoulder.
So, that reminds me of the time. Do you remember Mick McCarthy just got afraid of something on the phone one day and there was nobody there? Do you remember that time? That was great. Why, Johnny?
So, yeah, I think it's definitely something that the club can look at doing it. Whether they will or not, I don't know. I can't say with confidence that they've never done it in January, because famously we have. Like, you know, like Gakpo, Diaz, Van Dijk. There has been signings. Now, for every Gakpo, Diaz and Van Dijk, we've had a fucking, can't even remember your man's name. The fella that looked like a fragrant, what's your man's name? He looked like one of the blokes that robbed the gaff in Home Alone. Ben Davies, is it? What's his name?
Ben Davies and Ozan Kabak.
Yeah, look, fucking two.
Got storage in January as well.
Like Tommy Fury and Coutinho and Suarez.
Fuck him as well, Daniel Sturridge. His Liverpool icon status is up for debate now, where the shite he was coming out with on Sky after the game. That's for another day. So look, put it this way, Gav. If we go on another Forest-esque run after that result, it's safe to say we win the league. It'll be enough to win the league. If we accumulate that amount of points from that point, we'd be fucking laughing. But make no bones, 2 very, very tricky away games coming up now, and this is sort of they will have a blip, and this is the potential to be the blip, to be honest with you, because if you're being a pessimist, which I'm not normally am, to be fair, I'm normally try err on the side of optimism. It's 3 wins and 3 draws in our last 6 league games, which is not great, to be honest with you. So there's room for improvement. I seen Virgil said today after the game that people still need to realise that we're still in it. It is a process, and I agree with that. But I think we're better than that. We're better than we showed today, and that's the most annoying part for me. But look, listen, we've 2. I won't say nothing games, but 2 games where you can give lads who are probably on the periphery a chance to get a little bit more sharpness and a chance to book a final at Wembley before you play another league game. So look, I'd love to be playing Forest on Wednesday straight away and to be getting that out of our system, but maybe it's good timing that we have a League Cup toy
we've 9 days now, I think.
And Accrington Burnley at home. So
yeah, we've 9 days till our next league game, which includes.
It's very annoying, but we're still in a really good position, and I'm at pains to remind people that we're not getting chased down by fucking Pep's Man City. I know people might be shitting themselves a little bit because they've won 2 games in a row, but I've watched the last 2 games, and let me tell you, they lucky they scored when they did in both of the games, because they still don't look no great shakes. But this league will be.
They will, boy. Do you know what I mean? They
will.
Look,
listen, they will, and you'd expect them to. I expect nothing less of them. But I think, like, Richard Hughes, like, fucking show us what you're doing, Chief, will you? Because all you've been doing is getting rimmers off Ornstein on all the notable social media platforms. We need you to fucking do something.
Such a way of words, hasn't he?
We need to know. We need to know you know what I mean? I don't want to hear fucking.
It's like Patrick Cavill sitting here.
Yeah, I don't want to hear how great you are and fucking what plans you have for the summer after the end of the January window. Pretty much the way we did at the end of the summer. Like, he done one press conference, and we all thought, well, this might be fucking setting the president. We haven't seen the cunt since. Honest to God. Like, it's like your man who was trying to buy United, just see him. Like, there was one picture of him. I've only seen one picture of Richard Hughes, to be honest with you. He actually might be AI. I'm not even sure he exists. That's the God on it.
But David Ornstein says he looks great in a pair of Speedos.
David Ornstein said he was a great kisser as well. And
their lips.
Jono says, I called out Hughes and Gav got angry. No, I didn't get angry. I pointed out that he was on some holidays over Christmas, and that's allowed. But Jono says, no, that's not allowed. Never allowed to have a thing. LFC or 786 says, lads, please call out the club and they're kicking the can down the road. Bullshit yet again. Done nothing in the summer, then players expose themselves, and by January, that sounds a bit wrong, but anyway, by January we need 3 players instead of we need 3 new players instead of 1. LFCR 76, I think we have, and I know personally, I won't speak for the other lads, I know 100% that I've called out the fact that the club should have done one more signing in the summer, definitely, and I blame the club as much, probably more than the players, with regards to the contract situation. So it has been spoken about on this channel. I don't know whether you want us to sit and do it all day, every day, but it has been called out, and I'd be fairly confident the 3 lads here wouldn't disagree when I say that the club felt hadn't done enough in the summer. I think the lads might be on that. And with regards to the contracts, I don't think they hold the club not responsible in any way. They possibly hold the club as responsible more than anybody else in this contract situation. So I just wanted to throw that out there as well. Where were we? Did you all have a little go about learning and moving on? Keith, did you have a go at that?
At what?
About us learning and moving on.
Well, Liverpool or us?
No, not us. We'll never learn.
Now, Liverpool, look, we want to see the lads move on. I think it's probably good that we do have a couple of scuzzy games coming up now, because we can bring other lads into the fold and give them minutes, and we can sort of put Kanate back out to graze for a week or so and get him fit again, get more training minutes even in his legs. I think Shawnee's right. It's 2 difficult games coming up, but they shouldn't be difficult. If we can go out and we can just say, right, we're going to Nottingham Forest and we're going to Brentford, isn't it? They shouldn't be difficult games. But they are good teams and they've got good records. Liverpool need to go in and they need to be bollocked. And I would imagine, I wouldn't be surprised if there was digs thrown in that changing room and all after that, the way Virgil was going on in that game. I'd say he was trying to bleed and smack a few heads in there. So I hope to see a reaction from the lads. And I think we just have to put that today, not get over it and forget about it, but use it as a catalyst going forward and saying, we never want to see this shit again. Trent, you're here till June. Put your fucking effort in. Robbo, we know you're slow, as was pointed out. Robbo, it's being said on Talkin Kop, stop bombing forward. Do you know what I mean? Stop running forward. Hold your runs a bit. You're losing that yard of pace. be more sensible. Do you know, I think we should use it as a thing. Some of the lads that had bad games today, Sean, you said about Gravenberg, I didn't think he was great today. I thought he was decent, but not great. It's one of his only two. I think he was bad against Newcastle and he was poor today. Look, he's allowed that. Diaz has been good this season. Don't think he was great. Didn't get into the game, but I don't think Mo was great today. These are lads that have been good. Curtis Jones wasn't great today. He's been good, right? So too many of them had bad days. So you use this and you say, right, this is the bleeding. We never do this again. We get on, we get players in, we get players back, and we just keep moving. And if we can go and we can win the next two league games, well then today it's just, right, we drew. Felt like we lost, and Manchester United and their fans feel like they won. We drew. It was a point. Didn't lose. We move. And I just hope the players can do that, can sort of just use it as a catalyst to move on for the rest of the season, because in some ways you don't want to be dwelling on a shy performance like that. Do you know what I mean? You just want to say, right, can we take positives? The positives aren't from the field. The positives are what we didn't fucking do, that we know we can fix, that we know can be better, and hopefully work it from there. Because Trent Alexander-Arnold, as we've said, he's had stink bombs before, and he's come back and played well in games. So let's see his minerals. Let's see what he's made of. Do you know what I mean? If he wants to be, Mr. Liverpool or Mr. Madrid or wherever the fuck he wants to be, start showing it. Because whether he stays or whether he goes, he needs to start playing well for his sake. For whatever team he's playing for next season, he needs to start showing that he can do it. So let's see what the lads can do and move on. And like I said, if we win the next two, you look at 7 points from the 3 games, you'll say, okay, we'll take that. It should be more, but we'll take it and we'll move.
For me, it's not even that we went out there and tried to do what we do and done it badly. I just think we went out there and tried to do stuff that we don't do and done it badly. And I think, if they're in the dressing room afterwards, or Slot has said he'll look back at it tomorrow. Slot has actually come out and said, look, it felt like it's a point gained. When I look at the chances we've made, maybe I'll feel a little bit different tomorrow. He was very kind of diplomatic on it, but you could kind of see it in him where, I'm going to watch that back tomorrow and I'm going to fucking eat someone alive. And I think that's what it should be. I think if he sits down, I don't see Slot sitting down going, right, well, that was fucking, you done this, you done that. I think it'd be more of as a team. We were way too hurried to try to get stuff done here. We'd loads of time, and over the course of 90 plus minutes, playing in the control manner that we play in, I think we would have beaten Manchester United handy. That's my opinion on it. And I think that's maybe how we look at it, because it wasn't a Liverpool performance that was just done wrong. It didn't feel like a Liverpool, Arne Slot Liverpool performance. It just didn't feel like that for me. But anyway, we've done an hour. We're the best boys. Is there anything else we'd like to talk about? Keith?
No.
Good. Emma, anything else you'd like to talk about?
No. If we had a one, I would have.
Yeah, we'd be all full of beans if we had a one. Loads to talk about.
I would have loved to go in 2-footed on Arsenal fan TV if we had a one. But
you can do that anyway. They're pricks every day of the week. Doesn't matter what happens.
Let's talk about Saliba's headbutt.
Yeah.
Look, it's a penalty. It's the end of the story.
If it's with a foot, if you nick it with your foot like that and go by him, or you chest the ball and they clatter into you, it's a penalty.
This is the same fan base that were screaming blue murder when Fabianski tried to punch a ball clear earlier on the season and grazed Gabriel, and they got a penalty for it.
But it's also the same fan base that wanted a penalty for McAllister last season when Doku cleans him out. And they wanted it, and they were like, he's kicked him in the chest. So, look,
it's hours of endless fun on TikTok.
But that's just emotion, and Arteta. I haven't seen this. I've never seen a decision like that before. You clearly have. You've clearly seen a decision where a forward gets a nick on a ball and your defender cleans him out.
Then match of the day, fucking Lineker and more. We don't want to see penalties being given for two lads challenging for the ball.
Well, it's not two lads challenging for the ball.
It wasn't. He nodded it past him. Like, what the fuck?
But you see, the thing is, like, if you simplify it, if Pedro hits that ball past Gabriel, right, or Saliba, and Saliba gets a touch on the ball, fair enough. But if Saliba then gets a touch of the ball and goes through and takes him out with the ankle as he's running past him anyway, it's a penalty. Simple as that. The fact that there's a small touch by Saliba, it doesn't matter. What's happened is Saliba's got a nick on the ball and then he's loafed the fella. Right? That's it. forget the touching the ball. He has loafed the guy in the box. That's it. There's none.
Yeah,
if the two of them went up and connected with, if the two of them connected with the ball at the same time, and his head went through and hit him, you go, it's a clash of heads. But that's not a clash of heads. The ball has gone past you, and then you've hit him. It's the same with a foot. It's. But listen, that's how emotions run. I do. One of us put a clip of one of the Arsenal fan TV lads in. Yes, he kind of speaks with a bit of a French accent, I think. And he was really good. He was like, it was a penalty, and we're wasting time when we're 1-0 up. He was really, really good. And then some of them are just bananas, but that's just how it goes.
Arsenal fans are the type of blokes who use that as the teacher where they checking the homework, and on Friday they use it to one round say, "Well, you're not giving us homework for the weekend. They're all
not giving us a test before we go home." No,
yeah, they're all on. Yeah.
Shawnee, anything else before we go?
No. Fucking shite result. But look, listen, again, like you said, grand scheme of things, doesn't really have a huge effect on the look of the league. We're in a really, really good position now. Again, I reiterate to people, we're not being hunted down by fucking Guardiola and his pack of cheating savages.
Yeah.
It's going to be the lowest point total for a league win for a long time, I reckon. Just need to steer the course. Yeah, I'd like to see the club giving Slot a bit of a dig out for the run in terms of maybe bringing something forward. The contracts, I don't know. The other two I'm not worried about because they've already kind of said what side of the fence they lie on. But we need some sort of clarity on Trent and what's happening. And to be honest with you, I think the news coming out last night about the 300k offer, it sounds like to me the club putting the ball firmly back in Trent Alexander-Arnold's court. To be honest with you, I wouldn't be giving him that sort of money, to be honest with you, if I was wielding the axe at Liverpool. I wouldn't. He's a right back at the end of the day. It's simple as that. So yeah, let's hope today was just an anomaly, because I think, take everything out of it, I think on the flip side, he's been a lot better defensively this season, by being honest. But one thing I cannot stand is, in any walk of life and anything you do, if you do something at half the effort, you shouldn't fucking do it at all, is my opinion. And I don't want to see it from him again or anyone else. So yeah, that's pretty much it. Really, some years are absolute battlers, bat shy, insane in the chat. I honestly, I reckon I struggle to see how he's enjoy football with all the shit he's probably going around your head. But yeah, look, enjoy the fucking ride while we're on it. I don't think any one of us could have seen the season playing out the way it has so far. We're a really good football team. Today we just didn't show up. Again, we picked the fucking day not to show up. But Jesus, lads, imagine the night's sleep you would have got if Maguire had to put that in off the crossbar. Yeah, so just that's my way of looking at it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I think it's the first time we've not taken advantage of an Arsenal or a City or a Chelsea dropping points so far since we got ahead of everybody.
Yeah, but the positive,
we've taken advantage every time. This is the one time we haven't.
But the positive in it is that yes, we haven't, but
we're not worse off. Really,
it's not like exactly we're not worse off. It's just another game ticked off, and it hasn't been good. But we're still there. We're still 6 clear. We've a game in hand. We've tough game coming up, but so is everyone. Like when you're talking about Nottingham Forest and Brentford being tough away games, surely there's other games in there that other teams have that are tough games as well, you know. And they always feel a little bit tougher because of the position you're in. The only thing I would say is that Liverpool for me looked a bit nervous of the whole landscape of the league today, for me, just a little bit. And I think they got a little bit panicked in the whole thing, and I think that needs to be stamped out. But I think that was a product of how we were trying to play the game. Just didn't suit. It didn't suit what we wanted to do, and it definitely suited what the opposition were coming for. And that's where I think we have to learn and move on. But listen, we could be sitting here in 3 weeks' time, and we've won at Brentford, and we've won at Forest, and we've won in the FA Cup, and we're through the League Cup final or on the verge of it, and everyone's happy again. So go with the positivity. By all means, be upset over today, because it's absolutely fair to be. But we live to fight another day, and we'll see how we get on. that's about it. I think we've done really well. People are asking about transfer shows and stuff like that. There's loads coming in this month. This
Hopefully
month,
there's something to talk about.
this month actually might have more shows in this month than any month you've ever seen from this podcast. So that's
Big talk.
I think the show for a room 101 idea is good.
What things you want to put into room 101?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So somebody said that the other night, didn't they?
Yeah.
But it has to be like a football, where like it can't be
related
like
101.
What does that mean?
it can't be like people that don't pick up dog
Something you
shit
get
and all that kind of stuff. Like,
So
has to be
when you
football
put something
related.
into room 101 and never comes back, is that what you're saying?
Yeah.
Yeah, a bit like, so you could like, it could be anything. It could be Arteta just staring into space. That needs to go into room 101. That needs to stop.
Arteta. Just Arteta.
You know, so it could be anything like that.
But you have to back it up.
Maybe we'll do something like that.
That
It won't be a
dog
call. Well, it won't be a call-in show because no one calls in, and then we do call-in shows and no one calls in. And when people do call in the odd time, it's usually great crack. But we will be having shows like this. We'll be having shows that you can watch, and members only will be commenting. And then we will have our members only shows as well. But I think this month might be more shows than you've ever seen in a month, from the Talkin Kop. So that's where it is. Anyway, that has been me, Gav. That has been Keith. That's been Emmet. That's been Seany. Thanks for being to everyone in the chat. Thanks for liking, subscribing, commenting. Become a member if you want. And we'll be back with you tomorrow. We'll be back with you tomorrow. Early tomorrow morning for members. That's when we'll be back. Talk to you in a bit. Over and out.